Welcome back. I'm Carrie. This is Keep It Simple DIY. We are cooking up a stir fry because we got the first zucchini from the garden. I'm excited, but you know, we're about to be inundated with zucchinis. So I'm going to start by making some rice. This is some sushi rice that really needs to be used up. And I just filmed my shelf timber video because shelf timber pantry challenge, is about to begin. This is one of the items I want to use up. So a little preview. I'm not using it all the way, but I'm using a cup. I am going to get a cup of rice cooking. I also am going to get a pound of chicken breast on the stove, and we're making a stir fry because what else should we do when we get a zucchini? Now the reason that I haven't really been using this specific rice, it's sushi rice, but it's because I don't really know how to cook it. I mean, it says to do this whole steaming thing, and I tried that, it didn't work well. I did try it in the Instant Pot like I make regular rice before, and it turned out okay. I haven't really been doing much of it, but we're gonna just do it in the Instant Pot today because that's what I know, and nothing too crazy. Let's go over to the stove, get the chicken started, then we'll cut up the zucchini, and I think we'll even go out to the garden and take a peek around and see what's going on. All right, let's get this turned on. Get some sesame oil in here. And I think I'm going to add some vegetable oil as well. I do plan on switching away from vegetable oil as soon as I'm done with the vegetable oil that I have. I don't want to waste it. I just thawed out a pound of chicken. These are diced chicken breasts. I ideally would use chicken thighs in this recipe, but I didn't have any pre-diced, and I'm lazy like that. So we're using the pre-diced chicken breast. Let's get this a little bit seasoned up. So this is some white pepper, and I'm also going to use some salt. And then everything else that's out here is actually for the sauce. So I'm just going to let that cook for a minute. Let me grab out this thing. And this is the first time I'm going to be trying this liquid aminos. So I've never tried that before. Figure we might as well give it a little taste test. Oh, tastes just like soy sauce. What I'm wondering is the thing that is, hang on, how do I say this? What I'm wondering is if the thing that makes me get migraines is in soy sauce, is it in this or not? I'm hoping not. It says vegetable protein from soybeans and then water is included. This is better than cocoa aminos when you're comparing it to soy sauce, but I've learned that cocoa aminos is better for sushi, dipping it in, so it's a little sweeter. Now I don't think that we're gonna need all of this zucchini, so I'm gonna maybe start with just half. And I'm deciding if I want it to be, I think I'm going to go with half moons. Yeah, I think we'll save the other part of this for another meal. Okay. So we've got a little bit of waiting that we need to do. We are waiting on the chicken to cook. I'll throw the zucchini in once the chicken's cooked a little bit. We're also waiting on the rice. So let's go take a look out in the garden and see what things are looking like. Alrighty, quick little garden update. We have the tomatoes, which are doing fantastically. I have 2 over here and 4 over here. And it looks like it goes Roma, cherry, cherry, Roma, and these 2 are Romas, and we are just starting to get our first blushing tomatoes. So here are some. This is the one that's like the furthest. This is a very small Roma tomato. So here's my hand. They're very tiny, so I wonder if they're gonna stay tiny or if they'll get bigger. And then I do have a few tomatoes in here that are starting to blush as well. So tomato season is starting. It is currently right about the beginning of August. Coming over here, we have the tomatillos, and last year I planted the Milo, stop! Whew, okay, so these are tomatillos. The cat was just chasing a bunny, so luckily the bunny got away, the cat did not. So this year they are looking a lot better than last year because last year I started them so late. So this is starting to fill out, and hopefully we'll get some of these tomatillos to ripen, and we'll be able to make quite a bit of things. Now here is the corn. The corn is looking fantastic. And so what I've been doing is I've been coming out here and pulling off one of these guys, the tassels, or I guess this, I don't know. And I just come around here and I have been, oh, here's the one from yesterday. I've been pollinating any of the silks that I see because it's a little harder to get pollinated corn. When you only have so few corn. There we go. These are just starting, so I'm a little early on them, but I'd rather be early than late. I think that's all we got for now, so just leave that one there. Onions are doing pretty okay. Now the peas, it is very hot. It's been like 100 degrees pretty much since the beginning of June, so I'm surprised any peas even lasted. I did replant a second succession, it's still in the same bed, so hopefully those ones will be coming up shortly. I did get one dinner that had peas and green beans in it, but we even have, I think here's another flower, so it looks like we might be going again for a little bit more peas. I've never had great luck with peas. We don't really have a spring here. We kind of have winter and then we have summer. These are flowers. They haven't bloomed yet, but our green beans are looking great. I did pull off all of the ones that were ready and we ate them the other night. And this bed had poor germination, but we're making it work. I think next year I might plant twice as many. That way, if there's poor germination, we won't see so many dead spots. And the pears this year, these are the biggest pears. It's like the size of the palm of my hand almost. And there's a ton of them. So I need to figure out what to do with pears because there's so many. Back here we have some cabbage. We'll see if that grows. These, making sure I'm not tripping. Asparagus, which didn't get very thick, so I let them go to seed. I'm hoping that next year maybe we'll have some thick asparagus. And then some pumpkins. This is my only pumpkin that's vined. I've had some issues with the pie pumpkins and vining, so that's as far as we got. I do have some flowers that I planted back on this back row, but I realized yesterday they weren't getting watered, so we moved the watering, and we'll see. Now there are some volunteer strawberries. Those are coming through the fence because my neighbor has strawberries, so I'm thinking I might just let those run in here and put strawberries here because my strawberries don't produce, so maybe those will have good luck. Now these are gorgeous. I put some sunflowers. I don't really like sunflowers, but these are not the yellow ones. These are gorgeous. The camera doesn't do it justice at all, but they are so pretty and they're like iridescent. They're both a little different colored and we're about to have a whole bunch more of them. Now this is what I mean. This is not working very well. In previous years, I've had like this whole area covered in pumpkin. Now it was it was Hoden pumpkin, so I might need to do that again next year, but that's not really one for eating. Now I don't know what happened with this hibiscus. I think I might need to dig out some of these stems. It might just be overcrowded, but this year the hibiscus looks really sad. Usually it's like up to the fence almost, so something happened there. But this is absolute insanity. This is just the most grapes I've ever seen in one place at one time. And like as I'm doing this, I can keep panning all the way over here. So there is just a ton. And these are huge bundles of grapes. I mean, here's my hand. These are the biggest grapes that I've had. I mean, not all of them are huge, each individual grape, but like they're the biggest grapes. They're the biggest bundles. There's the most bundles. It's a lot of grapes. And so I'm trying, I'm stepping on some mud, I think. I do have some wasp traps out because last year the wasps were getting into the grapes so much that I could barely get to them. And I don't want to not be able to get to them. So this is it's just so much. Look at this. And this, I believe, is cantaloupe, and it took them a minute, but I think now that they're getting shaded, they're doing pretty well. I did plant watermelon over in the other one, but they are not really growing up over there. And we've got some problems going on. I have a blueberry plant that's being taken over by raspberry plants, and my raspberry plants have never created raspberries. So I'm not quite sure what's going on here. I need to look into that. And now this blackberry plant also doesn't have any fruit. This is our baby plum tree. It's growing, it's getting there. This hibiscus is much younger and it's looking beautiful aside from the weed poking out of it. Blueberries just are not a Colorado thing. I never can get them to really do anything. But this blackberry plant is actually doing fantastic. It has some blooms here. It has blooms there. It has blooms there. So we're doing well getting blooms on this blackberry. Oh, over here, this is exciting. We're about to see our first bloom here. So I have this bed, it's flowers, herbs, flowers, herbs, flowers, herbs, all the way down. So this first set is where the cilantro was, and I just pulled all that out and replanted because it went to seed. And then I've got some basil and all of the, gosh, is it? Oh, there's oregano. Is this oregano? What's that? That's a weed. All my herbs are being real slow this year, which is interesting. Here's some basil. Okay, so we're getting there. We've got some basil. Is this the Thai basil or the regular? This is Italian large leaf basil. And then this is supposed to be chives. So I guess I don't know where the other basil is supposed to be. But we have some parsley. And these flowers are all about to bloom. So hopefully in the next few weeks, we will get some bloomed flowers. Now here's where my strawberries are. They kind of volunteered themselves along here. I didn't get any strawberries this year though. None of them got pollinated. So I don't know if they're not getting enough water because they're not actually being watered or what exactly happened. And then over here, I just planted this out with carrots. This was the spinach bed. The spinach all went to seed basically before it even grew. These are the only ones that didn't, and I need to harvest them probably as soon as I'm done with the video. So carrots is what's going to be in this bed. Over here I have quite a few different flowers and the oregano that has now gone to seed or gone to flower. And it has just a ton of little bees hard working in here. Whoa. I have some melons. I'm not sure if they're watermelon or cantaloupe. We will find out shortly. And then celery, which might be a little too closely planted. And then all of the different kinds of squash and zucchini are planted in this bed, and this one plant has just gotten huge. I did just pick my first zucchini yesterday, and it looks like there's a ton that are about to be starting if they get pollinated. What I plan to do is come in and pull off a lot of these giant leaves, because then there will be more airflow and the pollinators will be able to see the flowers a little better. But over here you can see here's another plant, and then there's one back in the back. I don't think I really have anything on this plant as of right now. And then last but not least is the potato bed. Oh, that's a giant bug. There's big bugs this year here. Usually Colorado has very tiny bugs. Potatoes, oh my. Like, what even is that bug? Oh, I don't know. Potatoes. The potatoes are starting to die back. They didn't flower. Last year they didn't flower either. But we will hopefully have a ton of potatoes down in the ground to harvest. I usually have this be my zucchini bed, but this year I did the zucchinis in one, which means I have to go through all the bugs to get to it. But there is our update for the garden. This chicken is starting to get a little bit of color on it. I am going to add in the zucchini in just a moment because I don't want to overcook the chicken since this is chicken breast, not chicken thighs. So I'm kind of sacrificing a little bit of a darkened color so that I can get the zucchini cooked all the way. And then I'm also going to add some additional seasoning for the zucchini. So just salt and then white pepper. And I haven't added in any garlic yet, so I'm going to do so. So let's give this a stir. I'm going to put a lid on it for just a little bit so that these zucchinis get a little bit soft and then the chicken cooks through. So we will just let it sit here for a little bit. These are getting a little bit soft. I'm going to add the sauce in now so it can simmer in the sauce and get a good flavor. And then we'll thicken it up towards the end. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon of rice vinegar. Another tablespoon or so of oyster sauce. And then probably about a quarter of a cup of this soy sauce liquid aminos. And then I also need to add just a little bit of sugar, maybe I don't know, tablespoon or so. I'm going to turn this down to low, and we are just going to simmer on low until the rice is done, and then we'll come in and thicken up the sauce. We have 2 minutes left on the timer for the rice, so I am going to thicken up this sauce. Actually, I don't know, there's not much sauce, so we might not need quite as much thickener. So what I have here is just a cornstarch slurry. It's just a little bit of cornstarch with some water. And I'm going to start with just a little bit at a time because we might not actually need all of it. Oops. Stir fries are one of my go-tos, and I haven't made them in so long, which is so strange because I used to make them all the time. So I am excited to be doing this and hopefully get back to making stir fries often. I think I'm going to add just a teeny bit more, and that's probably it. Whoa. All right. Let's get this over to the other side of the counter and dish some up. Our stir fries come together nicely. I am going to get out some of this rice. Hopefully it's cooked all the way. I'm always questionable of this sushi rice. Hopefully it's not mushy. Whoops. Now. And then we will add some of our stir fry on top. And this is lunch, which actually I didn't even eat breakfast. So first meal of the day is a stir fry. I would call that a win. And we'll know real quick if it causes a migraine. So I have a few things here. I went out to my garden and got the little tiny bit of chives that I have. So I decided to put those on here just for presentation. And sesame seeds. I love putting sesame seeds onto a stir fry. All right, there we have it. All right, I want to taste this. It's been a minute since I've made a stir fry. Hopefully it is delicious. I want to get a bite with everything in it. Okay, it looks hot. I don't think I needed to add the salt because there was salt in the cocoa aminos, or in the liquid aminos. This is delicious though. I forgot that I usually add a bit of spice to something like this. I didn't, other than the white pepper, and I think I could have added a little bit more white pepper. This is delicious. I'm going to go sit and enjoy my lunch. I hope you enjoyed this video and the garden tour. Let me know down below what garden vegetables or fruits you have coming out right now and what you're making with them. If you're interested in seeing what the garden looked like last year at this time, I will put that here. It's a little bit different because I started about a month later than I did last year. And if you're interested in some other meals, I will put them here. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.